Okay, so I want you to picture this. You are standing on a hillside in St. Andrew. The sun is just starting to dip down, and you've got that cool breeze coming right off the Blue Mountains. And you can smell, I don't know, maybe someone is frying sprats nearby or roasting a breadfruit.
Oh yeah, it is that really heavy and nostalgic Jamaica scent.
Right, it is. It is that Sunday dinner under the ackee tree fantasy that so many people have. And for a lot of people, whether you already live on the island or you are part of the diaspora looking to come back home, that piece of land represents everything.
It really does.
It is not just a financial asset,
Not at all.
It is the zinc fence your father painted every Christmas. It is a legacy of struggle and triumph and reclaiming something yours.
It is highly emotional, and that is a beautiful thing.
Mm.
But here is the actual conflict we need to tackle today. That romantic ideal often crashes headfirst into a very rigid, very expensive reality.
Yeah, and that crash is exactly what we are unpacking in today's deep dive. We are looking at a really fascinating and honestly kind of a wake-up call of an article from Jamaica Homes. It was published on February 20th, 2026, and it is titled Stop Browsing.
And it is definitely a wake-up call.
It totally is, because
Yeah.
the mission of our deep dive today is to figure out why the American way of buying real estate completely fails in Jamaica. We are going to look at the hidden costs of being what the article calls a holiday dreamer and why intention is basically the most valuable currency you can have as a buyer.
Right, because the article makes a very compelling case that casual browsing in the Jamaican market isn't just a harmless hobby, it is actually damaging.
But I have to play devil's advocate right out of the gate here because, I mean, I am a browser. I love looking around. I look at castles in Scotland I will never be able to afford. I look at penthouses in Dubai. Isn't just looking the natural first step of buying anything?
Well, that is the million-dollar question right there.
Yeah.
And the answer really lies in the structural difference between, say, buying a condo in Miami and buying a hillside lot in Mandeville.
Okay, how so?
So in the US or the UK, the system is kind of designed to absorb browsers. Real estate agents often have salaries, or they work for these massive layered brokerages that have huge support teams, and the geography is flatter, and the data is all centralized.
Right, like the MLS where everything is just on a grid. You can go view 5 houses in an afternoon and still be home for dinner.
Exactly. But the Jamaican reality is completely different. The article quotes Dean Jones, the founder of Jamaica Homes, and he points out this cultural definition where land in Jamaica is a promise, not just a product.
A promise. I like that phrasing.
It is a great phrase. But the practicality paradox here is wild. Jamaicans are incredibly practical people in everyday life. Think about Coronation Market.
Oh, yeah, you are comparing prices at 5 different stalls before you buy a piece of yam.
Exactly. You check the yam, you haggle, you know what you want.
Right.
But for some reason, people apply this casual browse and compare logic to real estate. And in Jamaica, that is actually dangerous.
Because of how the agents operate?
Yes, because agents there work strictly on commission. There is no base salary safety net at all. And the part people always forget is that the agents pay for their own fuel, their own vehicle wear and tear, and their own time entirely upfront.
So when you are browsing, they are paying for it.
Exactly. Browsing isn't free. It has a direct financial cost to the professional who is trying to assist you. You are basically asking them to fund your weekend hobby.
Wow, okay, that reframes the whole thing. It really brings us to what the source material identifies as the 3 dangerous buyer personas. And looking through these, I feel like everybody knows at least one of these people.
I'll guarantee you know at least one, probably all 3.
Let's break them down.
Yeah.
So persona number 1 is the holiday dreamer.
Ah, the holiday dreamer. So picture a visitor maybe returning after 5 or 10 years abroad, living in London or New York. They're totally intoxicated by the sunset, the rum punch, and this overwhelming feeling of destiny.
Right, they are on an emotional high. I am moving back. Let's buy a house.
Exactly. So their behavior is they start booking viewings across multiple parishes. They want to see something in Kingston, then maybe Ocho Rios the next day.
Which on a map might not look crazy to them.
But the cost is massive. Agents end up conducting these cross-country expeditions. It is not just a quick drive. And then the holiday ends, the dreamer flies back to the cold weather, and they suddenly realize they actually aren't financially ready at all.
And the agent is just left holding the bag. Lost fuel costs.
Which is why the holiday dreamer is so dangerous to the ecosystem. They mean well, but they are running on pure emotion.
Okay, so that is the dreamer. Persona number 2 feels a bit more subtle. The almost ready client.
Yeah, this one is tricky because they show up with a lot of confidence. They might even have bank statements to prove they have money, but they constantly shift the goalposts.
What does that look like in practice?
It looks like someone saying they absolutely need a two-bedroom apartment. Then after you show them 5, they say, actually, we need 3 bedrooms. Then they say they want to be on the North Coast, but next week they want to look in Kingston.
So they are just perpetually moving without ever making a decision.
Right. Because the root cause is internal unreadiness. They are not actually aligned on what they want for their life.
Yep.
And the source has this incredible insight about this. It says, money in the bank does not equal readiness. Emotional certainty does.
Oh, man. Money in the bank does not equal readiness. That is deep.
It really is. Because you can be a millionaire and still waste weeks of an agent's time just because you haven't decided who you want to be yet.
Which brings us to the third one, the entourage effect.
This one is pure chaos.
It sounds like it. It is the person who calls up claiming, I have 10 friends and we are all ready to buy right now.
Yes. Very high energy. Immediate expectations. They demand to see everything in 2 days, and they want to bring their cousins and their business partners along for the ride.
But then comes the crash.
Always. They usually go completely silent the second the agent asks for structural requirements. Like, okay, great, let me just see your proof of funds or your mortgage pre-approval.
And suddenly the 10 friends are nowhere to be found.
Crickets. The article actually uses a very witty Jamaican saying to describe this exact situation. It says, no one can afford to drive round and round like a taxi without a passenger.
I love that. If you aren't an actual passenger ready to go to a destination, do not get in the taxi.
Exactly. Don't hail the cab.
So a lot of this friction seems to come down to geography and logistics, too. Why is just looking so much harder in Jamaica than, say, Florida?
Well, it comes down to topography. Jamaica is a mountainous island. It is not flat suburbia where roads are on a perfect grid.
So getting from point A to point B is not a straight line.
Not at all. The article talks about this logistical choreography. A viewing in rural St. Thomas is a totally different beast than a viewing in Halfway Tree. The roads curve, they climb up mountains, they get very narrow.
And I imagine traffic plays a huge role.
Oh, absolutely. Traffic can shift an entire itinerary by hours. If there's an accident or road work on a main coastal highway, you are just stuck.
So when a client just casually says, hey, let's add a viewing in Portland tomorrow,
They have no idea what they're actually asking. They don't realize the sheer physical toll and the massive fuel costs involved for the agent to make that happen.
right, they are just looking at a dot on a map. They don't see the mountains and the traffic in between.
Exactly. Which is why the financial reality check is so crucial before you ever get in the car.
Let's talk about that reality check. The article leans heavily on pre-qualification, getting your job letters, your TRN, your pay slips, which honestly sounds like a lot of boring paperwork.
It is paperwork, but the source frames it brilliantly as psychological grounding.
Psychological grounding, I like that. So it brings you back down to earth.
Yes, because without it, your fantasies just inflate. The budget gap is a real danger. A buyer might be looking at these stunning properties listed for 75 million Jamaican dollars because they feel wealthy. But their actual borrowing capacity based on their income is only 40 million.
Oh, wow. That is a massive gap.
It is. And the outcome is terrible for everyone. The buyer is heartbroken and disappointed, and the agent is the one who has to deliver this really awkward reality check.
Which ruins the whole relationship.
Exactly. It is so much better to know your true budget before the viewing. Get grounded in reality first, then go look at what you can actually buy.
That makes total sense. Now, we have talked a lot about buyers, but we need to look at the seller's side too, because the article points out that sellers also make some pretty big mistakes when it comes to shopping around, right?
They do. Sellers often think they're being clever by shopping agents, meaning they list their property with too many different agents, thinking it will cast a wider net.
It sounds logical on the surface.
Yeah.
More agents means more exposure.
It sounds logical, but the downside is severe. It actually dilutes the marketing completely.
How so?
Because if 5 agents are listing the same house, nobody wants to spend their own money on premium photography or drone video. Why would they invest if another agent might sell it and take the commission?
Oh, that makes sense. So nobody invests in selling it properly.
Right. And then you get inconsistent pricing across different websites. One agent lists it for one price, another lists it slightly lower to get a quick bite.
Which just looks suspicious to buyers.
It looks desperate. And you end up with poor, dark cell phone photos on one listing that totally undermine the professional work a good agent might have tried to do on another platform.
It just creates chaos. And Jamaica is such a relational culture. Business is done through connection.
Very much so. It is a highly relational business culture. Word travels fast. If you are a difficult seller or a buyer who wastes time, agents talk. Integrity is what builds your reputation.
There is a quote from Dean Jones in the article that I think perfectly captures this whole dynamic. He says, "When we treat each other's time with honor, we build more than houses, we build a nation that trusts."
That is the core of the whole piece, the currency of trust. If you are browsing and burning people's time and money, you are depleting that trust.
It really is profound. It elevates real estate from just a simple transaction to nation building.
Exactly. It is about mutual respect.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's summarize what we have learned. The big takeaway from the source material is that the Jamaican market rewards clarity and strategy, not scattergun tactics.
Right. You have to make a core shift in your mindset. You need to move away from urgency and impulse and move toward preparation and intention.
Preparation and intention. And I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over. We talked about how land in Jamaica represents legacy. The article calls it resilience made visible. It is literally a stake in the soil of a very proud nation.
It's not just dirt and concrete.
No, it isn't. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: are you approaching this market with the respect and preparation of a builder? Or are you just looking at it with the casual curiosity of a tourist?
That is the ultimate question. Because a tourist just takes photos and leaves. A builder leaves something lasting behind.
Exactly. We really encourage you to be the client who builds, not just the one who browses. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been great exploring this with you. Be well.